Welcome to Wild Amplified, presented by Pilot Games. The last episode of 2020, the vaccines being administered, and players hitting their home team training facilities, there's kind of a lot to talk about. Perhaps the number one item on your Christmas list this year, besides the reverse retro jersey of course, is the release of the 2021 NHL schedule, and trust us, it's high on our list as well. To help bring some insight into what that might look like, we are joined by former Wild captain and friendly face on Fox Sports North, number 37, Mr. Wes Walz. Wes, thanks for coming on the show today, and it's been a lot more of an extended off season than I think any of us thought it was going to be. Have you heard anything, or is there anything you can let us know on when we might be getting a hockey schedule out?
Well, I know what everybody else knows. It sounds like the date that the NHL and the Players Association want to get things kicked off is January 13th, and it sounds to me, and I know there's still, the NHL and the players are still negotiating some of the protocols that are going to have to take place with the COVID situation, how many players are going to be on rosters, all those different kind of things on the side that need to get pounded out. But it sounds to me like January 1st is going to be when training camp is going to start. It also sounds to me like the 7 or 8 teams that did not make the playoffs the last year are going to have an extra 3 or 4 days to get into their training camp before the other teams, including the Wild. So it sounds like it's going to be a 10-day, 14-day training camp, and we're going to be dropping the puck January 13th. That's at least the way everything feels right now. Everything is subject to change, as you know. The talk right now is that there's going to be a 56-game schedule. There's been so many things that have been fluid here, as everybody knows, over the last 6-8 months. That's what's in place right now. Excited to get hockey back. It's been long enough, and I know I'm excited. I'm only a TV broadcaster, but I can only imagine how excited the players are about getting back onto the ice.
It seems like every single day there are new Wild players showing up over at a Trio rink, getting in their practice early before the training camp starts. How important is it to kind of get that chemistry going early with all of the new faces that are joining the team?
It's going to be really important, especially because there's not going to be, the players are not going to have access to playing preseason games this year, but from what I'm understanding, from what I'm hearing. So the interaction between the players, and it sounds to me right now over a Trio that there's all the Minnesota Wild players there, maybe 4, 5, 6 guys are not there right now, but guys like Nick Bonino that the Minnesota Wild got from Nashville in the Luke Cunnin deal, Marcus Johansson in the Eric Stahl deal from the Buffalo Sabres, Kirill Kaprizov is also here, and Minnesota Wild fans are going to be really excited about getting him back over from the KHL. They've been waiting for a long, long time to get him back over here, and Nick Bukestad's going to get an opportunity coming over from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who Billy Guerin is very familiar with, Nick Bukestad and his game. So getting these guys back into the Twin Cities area, getting over to the Trio Ice Center skating, and getting acclimated to each other as players is going to be really, really important.
And there have been a lot of different speculation going around for what type of format this upcoming season's going to be, whether it's going to be hub cities, another bubble. We've heard about the different regions and the Canadian teams forming their own type bubble, if you will. What do you think would be the ideal format for this season to be played successfully?
Well, having had the opportunity to talk to some players that spent 6 weeks, 2 months in the bubble in Edmonton or Toronto, the NHL obviously did a magnificent job. No COVID positive tests, which is, it's a miracle. Like, just think about how many people coming and going. The fact that the NHL was able to pull it off and award a Stanley Cup winner to the Tampa Bay Lightning is really remarkable. But having spoken to a lot of players and knowing this myself, being a former player, and I know it's playoffs and we're fighting for a Stanley Cup, it's the greatest trophy ever to win, but being away from your family for that long of a time is really, really difficult for anybody. It sounds to me right now like the Minnesota Wild are probably going to be in the Pacific Division, so they're going to play a lot of the California teams. And what I'm hearing right now is a lot of the home games are going to be played here at the XL Energy Center. Under weird conditions without having fans here, and then maybe when we get out on the road, maybe when the Minnesota Wild go out to California, maybe they play the Anaheim Ducks 2 or 3 times, and then jump over and play San Jose 2 or 3 times, where they're gone for a week, play 5 or 6 games, and then come home and maybe have a couple, 3, 4, 5 days off, and then get back into some home games. So again, these are all a lot of the protocols and things that the NHL and the Players Association are going to try to pound out right now. But just from talking to some of the players, over the last month or so, it was really difficult being away from their families. So I don't even think that that's really going to be an option.
That's going to do it for the first part of Wild Amplified, but fans, stay with us because we'll be back with more with Wes Walz right after this.
From the Xcel Energy Center in downtown St. Paul, this is Posted Up with Ryan Carter.
So are you like espresso, put the thing in there, turn it, press the button and go, or are you like a Nespresso kind of guy?
I'm doing crazy stuff. So I'm like, do you want the whole?
Yes, I need it. Yes.
Okay. So I'm finding a bean. Like, it's usually roasted within the last 2 weeks. First of all, I don't know any of my teammates. They're gonna see this and be like, this guy's an absolute wacko.
Welcome back to Wild Amplified. We are still here with Wes Walz. Wes, thanks for sticking around, and we wanted to take a minute also to talk to you about the captain buzz that's been going around the Wild organization. As somebody who's been around the locker room a lot yourself as a former player, what are some of the attributes that really stand out in a leader?
Well, Billy Guerin is our general manager, and he's won 4 Stanley Cups, 2 as a player and 2 in management. If there's anybody that knows anything about leadership, it's Billy Guerin. So I can promise you, and I haven't talked to Billy about this, but I know this is a big decision. I mean, the front runner probably would be Jared Spurgeon, who just signed another 7 or 8 year contract. It's going to be around a long time. Marcus Foligno's name's been thrown around as well. Obviously, Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, guys that have been around the block, both played around 1,000 games. So there's a lot of great opportunities to have great captains here with the Minnesota Wild organization. But my own personal feeling on captaincies, and I've had all kinds of different captains. The one captain that kind of stands out to me the most, the year or two that I was with the Detroit Red Wings, was Steve Yzerman. And everybody knows how great a captain, how great a leader he was as a player. A lot of times people on the outside looking in would always think a captain's got to be a guy that's going to close the doors and tear paint off the ceilings and off the walls. That's not always the case. Sometimes that gets old really, really fast. And for me, some of the best leaders that I've ever played with were quiet guys, and Steve Yzerman was a lot like that. If you're going to name a captain, you better make sure you've got the right guy in place, and you better make sure that he's a guy that comes to play every game. And he has to be a guy that obviously is a really good player in the locker room, but can still be a really, really good player while he's taking care of other guys. And sometimes it might be just wrapping your arm around somebody saying, Bud, no problem at all. And in other times it might be, Bud, listen, we need more out of you. You're better than this. So there's a lot that goes into being a great captain. There's a lot that goes into being a great leader. And as I mentioned before, Billy Guerin has won 4 Stanley Cups. He knows what it feels like, and he knows what it looks like. And he's got some great choices here in that Minnesota Wild locker room. And I can promise you it's a decision that Billy's not taking lightly.
Wes, I know Wild fans are very anxious and excited to figure out who this next captain of the Wild is going to be, and I bet the Hockey Lodge as well is excited for all of the jersey sales to come. Stay with us. We will be right back after this. Herbie's on the Park is again providing delicious meals for the holiday season. Check out herbiesonthepark.com to place your order for your holiday dinners to go. And they are also doing some amazing nosh boards. What's a nosh board? I have no idea, but either way, you'll nosh it down. Make your holiday simple and delicious, and let Herbie's take care of feeding you and yours. Happy holidays from Herbie's on the Park. Get in the crease and stay connected with all Minnesota Wild channels using hashtag MNWild, or check us out on wild.com. Welcome back to Wild Amplified. We have more here with Wes Walz. And Wes, with next week being the start of the World Juniors Championship, there are a number of Minnesota Wild prospects who are going to be playing in it. What do you think we can expect to see?
Well, first off, it's exciting to have more than 0, 1, or 2 prospects in the World Junior Tournament if you're the Minnesota Wild. count them, 5 prospects, Minnesota Wild prospects, are playing in the World Junior Tournament in Red Deer. Starts here just on Boxing Day, December 26th. If you're a Minnesota Wild fan, it's really, really exciting. And you know, I remember being on the air on Fox Sports North here a couple years ago, or even it was last year. And I remember telling Anthony LaPanta, listen, don't ask me anything around this time of year. Don't ask me anything about the World Junior Tournament, because right now the Minnesota Wild don't have any prospects or players that are in the tournament. But over the last couple years, Billy Guerin and Judd Brackett have done an amazing job, especially through the last draft, stocking the shelves for the Minnesota Wild and putting good players you know, in their prospect pool. And that's really how you build over long-term success. So these kids get an amazing opportunity to play in a World Junior Tournament. For a lot of these kids, they're playing against the best hockey players in the world, their peers at the same age level, in front of an amazing stage. Right now, there's no hockey going on. Everybody in the world is going to be watching the World Junior Hockey Tournament this year. So the fact that the Minnesota Wild have 5 players playing in this tournament is going to be really, really very special for these kids. And if you're a Wild fan, you're going to be very, very excited about seeing some of these young kids play at a high level in an amazing tournament.
You had some experience playing in the tournament yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I did. I was fortunate in 1989, which was a few years ago, to make the World Junior team. That year, the tournament was in Helsinki, Finland, and Turku, and we were fortunate enough to win the gold medal that year, which was something that was very, very exciting. And how we won the tournament maybe was more exciting than actually winning the gold medal itself. The last day of the tournament was really remarkable. The only way that we could win the gold medal going into the Sunday was we had to beat the Czech team we were playing. And in Helsinki, Finland, the Russian team, Pavel Bure, were playing against the Swedish team. A game had to end in a tie, and we had to beat the Czechs, who had not lost a game in that tournament. Robert Reichel, some guy named Jaromir Jagr, Bobby Holik were on that Czech team. We ended up beating the Czech team, but with about 5 minutes before the end of the game, we were up 2-1 against the Czechs in Turku. The game in Helsinki, the Russian and Swedish game, had finished in a tie, 5-5. The Swedes scored with 2 seconds left in the game to tie the game up. So now we're playing with 5 minutes left in our game, knowing the Russian and Swedes ended in a tie. So we knew if we hung on to our 2-1 win, we were going to win the gold medal. So that last 5 minutes took forever to play. We were able to hang on against probably the best team in the tournament, the Czech team, against guys like Jaromir Jagr. So that was really a remarkable feat to be able to win the gold medal, and especially how it all went down. So that's kind of my World Junior Tournament, an amazing experience and one that I'll never forget. And these Minnesota Wild players, 5 Minnesota Wild prospects playing in the World Junior Tournament this year, are getting that opportunity. It's an unbelievable tournament and a great experience for our young prospects.
Wes, thank you so much for joining us on Wild Amplified today. It was a pleasure having you, and hopefully we'll be able to see you around the rink again here soon once the season gets going.
Looking forward to it, really am.
This is going to do it for the final episode of Wild Amplified by Pilot Games for 2020. I'm your host, Kristen Krull, and we'll see you back here in 2021.